Our first speaker is a technical evangelist for Opsgenie and helps teams build better on-call and incident response practices. He's a writer, speaker, event organizer. In addition, he's a community hero for Amazon Web Services, as well as a core team member for DevOps Days, helping communities organize DevOps events. Coming all the way from Istanbul, Turkey, please join me in welcoming to the stage Serhat Can.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me? Okay, let's start. Again, my name is Serhat Can, and I work at Atlassian now after the acquisition. So it's really great to be here because 2 years ago I was just developing integration. I was working on our HipChat integration and Jira integration, and now I'm here talking with you guys. So it's great to be here. So today we are going to talk about Opsgenie and specifically how to extend Opsgenie. I understand that this is a fundamentals track, and also you are probably new to Opsgenie, so I will try to first talk about some of the fundamentals. And also I'm going to be around after the talk, and I'm going to be at the Opsgenie booth tomorrow and most of the day on Wednesday. So if you want to chat about AWS, DevOps, on-call, incident response, or Opsgenie, just come and say hi. I will be glad to chat with you guys. So as you may know, Atlassian's mission is to unleash the potential of every team. And as Opsgenie, we also want to unleash the potential of teams, but we are focusing on specifically on-call teams. So before we start, I want to just learn more about you guys. Do you know what on-call means? Yes, raise your hand if you are familiar with the term on-call. Okay, almost half, more than half. Great. So are you familiar with Opsgenie? Did you use Opsgenie before? Okay, just a few hands. Great. Now, I'm glad now I did put 5 or 6 slides about Opsgenie products. So first, I will get you speed up and learn more about Opsgenie before going to talk more about developer stuff. So now we are going to talk about important concepts around on-call and just go over the product features, some of the important features of Opsgenie. So Opsgenie is an alerting, on-call scheduling, and incident management solution for operating always-on services. So if you have a problem with your service, there's a problem, we get the alerts and deliver it to the right people at the right time and ensure that the alert is resolved in the least possible of time. And so most of our users are developers and people who deal with operations. Nowadays, we call them DevOps engineers or SRE engineers. So most of them are developers. So on-call, on the other hand, means if there's a problem, you will get called. So we have reliable alerting, which means we invest a lot in resilience, so you don't miss your alerts, critical alerts. And we have deep integrations with monitoring tools, ticketing tools, chat tools, and logging tools. So we can get the alerts from all those tools and group alerts, filter out the noise, and deliver the alerts through multiple notification channels, including SMS messages, mobile push notifications, calls, and emails. And also we'll do a lot to enrich alerts, so developers have the necessary data on the alert to be able to react and solve the issue hopefully faster. Again, on-call means if there's a problem, we will get called. But things can get complicated with on-call schedules because every team has its own priorities. Every people has its own has some priorities. So that means on-call scheduling solution should be flexible and easy to use. So we try our best to make on-call scheduling both flexible and powerful, so you can easily manage schedules and determine who is on call when. And if on-call cannot be reached for some reason, we also have escalations to reach out to other people or team members until the alert is acknowledged or closed. So our whole goal is to ensure that the critical alerts are never missed. And teams are at the core of Opsgenie. So everything you do with Opsgenie, integrations, policies, services, everything is tied to teams. But services are particularly important, so I want to talk about them just a little bit. So services, we map services and its dependencies, and in case of an alert, we automate the stakeholder communication. So we reach out to all stakeholders, both internal and external stakeholders, and send messages, and also create internal and external status pages for effective communication. So we ensure that distractions are minimized and teams stay focused on resolution. And as we talk about communication and collaboration, effective communication is key for incident management. And we do have a lot of chat integrations, including with tools like Slack and Microsoft Teams, so we are going to talk about those in more detail soon. And we also have what we call incident command centers, so you can create virtual war rooms and bring in incident response team and give them the right tools to communicate during the incidents and have all the visibility for the alerts. And the last thing I want to mention is that we track everything. So we collect all the data about on-call, your incident response process, and you can use those data to reveal, for example, the source of most alerts, where they are coming from, or your team's performance in acknowledging or closing alerts, or how on-call loads are distributed, so you can check them and make distribution of the load more even, so that your team are more healthy. But we understand that every team is unique. So we try our best to make Opsgenie as flexible as possible. But we also know that we cannot include everything into the product itself. So we do a lot to make sure that we also provide a tool that is flexible enough so people can use our APIs and tools and use those things to make Opsgenie work for them. So we have 3 things I want to talk about today on how to extend Opsgenie. So the first thing is going to be about native integrations. So then I'm going to talk about our web API, CLI, and libraries. And finally, I'm going to talk about something called Opsgenie Edge Connector. So Opsgenie offers integrations with more than 200 tools. And those tools are chat tools like, for example, Slack, or ticket management tools like Jira Service Desk, logging tools like Amazon CloudWatch, or Prometheus, or monitoring tools like Datadog, New Relic, and logging tools like Splunk. And our integrations help you manage your alerts in a flexible and powerful way. So now I want to talk just a little bit about some of the integration basics. And right now I have an example from our Datadog integration. So usually integrations are just one-click setup. So you just copy the API key and paste it on the Datadog side, and it works. And sometimes it's even more easy. For example, with Slack integration, you just click one Add to Slack button, and it's just installed. So this is actually all you need to add the integration by default. But there is a lot more to this one. So these are the basic integration settings. So you may choose to assign an integration to a team. So teams can manage their own integrations. Team admins don't have to depend on a global admin and can manage their own integrations. And you can also temporarily enable or disable an integration, suppress notifications. Or we are going to talk about integration types soon. Like for many integrations, you can also, just as you get the alerts from Datadog, we can also send the alert updates happening in Opsgenie. For example, someone acknowledging the alert, send it back to the Datadog. So you can also filter out some of the things that you don't want to see in Opsgenie using the alerting filters, and choose to also ignore some alert actions. So these were simple actions. So we also have advanced integration settings. So in this view, looking at the first one, so the rules on the left side are responsible for action processing, and the rules are executed from the top to down. And for example, let's take a look at the first action. So if the incoming data from Datadog has the action side in the JSON as create, and also if it matches the second option, then it will use the alert structure in the third part. So in the third part, on the right side, we have all the data coming from Datadog. So you can just drag and drop down and create your own alert the way you like. So now we covered some of the basics, and let's now talk about native integration types. So we have 5 native integration types, and the first one is API-based integrations. So what we call API-based integrations, with them you can forward alerts to Opsgenie from monitoring tools. Basically for alerting purposes. For example, if you are a Catchpoint user, you can forward alerts to Opsgenie and create and close alerts automatically. Once the alert is closed in a Catchpoint, it will also be, for example, closed in Opsgenie. On top of the previous one, we have many integrations capable of doing these both ways. So these integrations can create and take many actions in Opsgenie. Also, once you take an action in Opsgenie, the action will be also sent back to the integration itself. So tools like, for example, Nagios, if you create an alert, there will be an alert in Opsgenie, and once you close the alert in Opsgenie, it will also be closed in Nagios. So the outgoing integration doesn't create alerts in Opsgenie. They just get the events happening in Opsgenie. So for example, if an alert is closed in Opsgenie, you might send the event to, for example, Amazon Simple Notification Service, and you can subscribe to that topic and then do whatever you want with the event. And the most and well-known used outgoing integration is webhook integration. Basically, with webhook integration, if there is an event in Opsgenie, we will make an HTTP request to your endpoint. So we have also a lot of chat integrations, and we want to basically use the power of ChatOps. And our most well-known and most used integration is with Slack. So with Slack, we don't just send the alert actions to Slack. We also have interactive buttons on Slack, so you can take actions within Slack. For example, you can add a note directly within the alert, on the alert in the Slack channel, or just assign the alert to someone else. Just type the Slack username, and it will be assigned directly to that person, and it will basically that person will be notified. And also we have slash commands with Slack, /genie command, and with /genie command you can do basically everything you can to what you see on the web UI. You can even enable or disable an integration, or you can learn who is on call for which schedule, or basically enable or disable even policies. It's pretty powerful. So finally, we have what we call email-based integrations. For some tools, they're only able to send emails. So we have an email collector. We give you an email address, and if you send an email address to, that email address, we can create an alert from that email or close the alert. So it is pretty useful for some in-house build applications. If the integration is not capable of sending an API request, then you can use the email integration. So I also want to talk about one more thing, what we call Opsgenie Actions. So Opsgenie Actions is actually pretty new. We just made it GA, generally available, for about a month ago. So usually ops teams need to get involved and execute some predetermined action to solve problems. So Opsgenie Actions automates this process. And we have 2 types of actions. So if you are an AWS user, it is great because we have a direct integration with AWS Systems Manager. If you are not familiar with Systems Manager is able to automatically, for example, take actions on resources like restarting an EC2 instance or adding a new instance VM to a load balancer, for example, and various other things. So with Opsgenie, directly on the alert, you click a button, and there will be a form if you need additional data to send to like a command to AWS Systems Manager. You can enter, select it from the drop-down menu, and just click the execute button, and it will get executed automatically. So you don't have to switch between AWS and Opsgenie. You can just take remediation actions directly within the alert. This is powerful because during incidents, it is always stressful, and automating this stuff definitely helps on-call people. And also the other option we have is we also provide generic REST endpoint. So it is basically the similar thing. So you can click an action on the alert, and you have a form. You can enter additional details if you want. And then we will make an HTTP request with the data. And usually teams use this to integrate with tools like Ansible, Salt, or AWS Lambda. But the possibilities are limitless. So if you are interested in developing a native integration with your tool, you can write us on the chat bubble on the opsgenie.com, or just send us an email. You can go to the contact page and send us an email. Or you can just, if you are here, so you can just come and talk with us during the summit, and that would be great. So the second part, our REST API, CLI, and libraries. I suspect that this is going to be more relevant for developers. So the idea is simple. We want to basically have everything available on the API or mobile application or wherever, also available on the web API or web API. So basically, you can accomplish almost everything you do via our web API through our REST API. And these are just, some of the services we have for our REST API. You can take CRUD actions for basically everything you see here, including things like forwarding rules, team routing rules, schedules, schedule rotations, policy API, team member API, all the administrator actions, including all the alerting actions. So if you want to talk with our API, basically what you do is you create an API integration, and you get the API key, and that's it. So using that API key, you can write your code and make the HTTP request, and it works. And within the API integration, you are also able to assign the integration to a team, specific team, and you can restrict access to configurations, basically adding additional authorization features so teams don't take actions by mistake. And also you can limit the API key to a read-only access if you want. And also you can enable or disable the integration or suppress the notification if you want. We also know that sometimes it is hard to just write code just to interact with an API. So we have different SDKs for different languages. We have SDKs for Java, Go, Python, and Node.js. So you can just use them and just add the API key and say create alert, and it works. And in this example, for example, let's say Go example. It's a small one, so we have a lot of examples on our GitHub account if you want to check. So one last thing related with the API and CLI and SDK part is LAMP. So LAMP is our command line tool, and as I told you earlier, most of our users are operations people, DevOps, SRE people, so they love writing commands on command line. So if you are that kind of person, and if you want to just use our command line interface, this is it, LAMP. So we just, this year, wrote our LAMP again, so it is more efficient right now, and it's a Go-based command line utility tool. Basically, you can interact with Opsgenie and create close alerts, attach files, and do a lot more. So basically, if you can execute, if your service is able to execute a shell script, then you can use LAMP. So the last tool I want to talk about is Opsgenie Edge Connector. So I understand you are not familiar with Opsgenie, so if you heard about something called Marit, Marit is the old Edge Connector. So we are deprecating Marit. It's going to be Edge Connector from now on. So Opsgenie Connector is a lightweight application that can be deployed on premises or in customers, for example, cloud environment. So why do we need an application on the customer side? So the main reason is that some integrations are not accessible from the public internet. There might be many reasons, And for example, if you have an on-premise Jira software deployed, then you can use OEC, Opsgenie Edge Connector, to send actions taken in Opsgenie back to Jira. So basically, OEC allows the integration, bidirectional integration between integrations. For example, if an alert is acknowledged in Opsgenie, you can send the update to OEC, Opsgenie Edge Connector, and within OEC, you can take actions. We have different ready-to-use scripts, or you can just write your own code. For example, when alert is acknowledged in Opsgenie, you can automatically change Jira issue to, for example, in progress status. That is pretty easy. Just install OEC, and there is a script for it. Or you can just write your own scripts. We support in OEC, we support Groovy, Python, Golang, and Bash. So it is more flexible, so you can just write your own custom code. So the other reason is for basically our customers use OEC for another big reason. It is security. So usually teams don't want to open ports, don't want to open HTTP endpoints to public. And OEC doesn't open HTTP endpoints to public. Basically, it will poll a queue and get the data, get the Opsgenie events for you. So you only need to open inbound ports. It is more secure. And we also have secure data in transit with HTTPS and TLS encryption. And one more thing, this is also pretty new. We have something called Opsgenie Edge Encryption. With that, you also install another application in your environment, and you have a unique key. And we, on the Opsgenie side, we basically have everything encrypted. So if you want to see something decrypted on the Opsgenie UI, we ask you to basically decrypt the message and show it to you then. So on the Opsgenie side, we have no idea. We have no visibility into what is an Opsgenie. And also, you can pair Opsgenie Edge encryption with Opsgenie OEC, Opsgenie Edge Connector. So now, I'm going to talk about sample use cases. So again, if you check Opsgenie's GitHub account, you will see a lot of different examples. So I didn't put it here. For example, we recently, Bitbucket team created an integration with Opsgenie. So in a stage you want in your pipeline, you can just add a small YAML description and can create an alert in Opsgenie easily with just a couple of YAML files. And it's just, the code also is very simple, just a couple of shell code and just 20 lines of code, so you can do the same. So the first use case I want to mention is an alert enrichment use case. So this use case is a good example because it uses both our Opsgenie webhooks and also our API. So in the integration, alerts are coming from your monitoring tools or logging tools. So Datadog found out about a problem, or New Relic found out about a problem. And then we get the alert in Opsgenie, and we are able to make an HTTP request to an API endpoint through our webhook integration. And to be able to execute that, we usually, if you are an AWS user, for example, you can use API gateway together with Lambda, AWS Lambda. And I usually tend to suggest this one because it's pretty easy, and if your endpoint isn't get called all the time, you are basically not going to pay. You are not going to pay anything. So it's also very cheap. So there's an HTTP request to our API endpoint, to API gateway service, and API gateway service will basically pass the data to Lambda function, and within the Lambda function, for example, if you have a logging tool like log entries, you can just make the request and get the latest logs, and then use the Opsgenie API to attach the logs onto the alert. You can attach, for example, zip files, or if it's a basically short log, you can also add that log to the description field of the alert. So it's pretty simple. Once the on-call engineer goes into the alert, he or she will see the logs immediately. So there's no need for context switching or anything. So it's there. So the last example I want to mention is select to Opsgenie alert creator. So this is available again on our GitHub account, github.com/Opsgenie. Select to Opsgenie creator. In this case, you write a / command in Slack and say, for example, /alert and write something like there's a problem with this one, with the server, and then Slack. In this case, we are using outgoing webhook integration in Slack, but there is also other types of integrations. But this is the simplest one in our case. This is enough for us. And then with the outgoing integration, Slack will make a HTTP request to, again, our API endpoint, for example, through, again, API gateway service. And then our Lambda function, select alert creator Lambda, can filter the data, for example, coming from the user, add additional data, and just create the alert. It is very simple. Let's go into some of the details. So this is, again, our API integration page. And then we create an API integration first, so because we need to interact with our API to create the alert. And this is all the code we need. So I wrote this one with our Node.js SDK, and I just include the Opsgenie SDK and get the select token just to check the requests are coming from Slack within the Lambda function. And then from there, I set up the Opsgenie SDK with provide the API key, Opsgenie API key, and have basically prepare my JSON file to create the alert. You can also add additional data, like you can choose which themes, or add tags, or add some additional key value pairs to the alert. It's pretty flexible. And then what we do is just say opsgenie.alertv2.create. And I just pass the JSON data, and then wait for the result. It's pretty simple. So in this example, these are also available on the GitHub page. I used serverless framework to deploy the AWS Lambda function. And what I do is just after setting up my environment, setting up the NPM and setting up the AWS key, just say serverless deploy, and it will create an API endpoint with the API gateway service and deploy the Lambda function, and that works. And last thing is on the Slack side, we have outgoing webhook integration. With that, we can choose a channel, or just if we want, we can choose a trigger word like an alert or Opsgenie. Don't select Genie because we have that reserved. Then you enter the URL point you got from the API gateway service. And then you have to deploy it twice because at this point you get the token and you deploy the Lambda function again. But that's all. Once you say, for example, /custom alert, this is your keyword, let's say, user page doesn't allow adding new admins, for example, an alert will be created in Opsgenie, and if you have people on call on the schedule for that team, they will get called. So less than 9 minutes. So I just want to go over some important links. So we have resource library in Opsgenie. So you can just go to the opsgenie.com, and from there you will see under resources we have ebooks, a lot of different ebooks around best practices around on-call and incident management, and also Opsgenie product. And we have white papers, we have videos, a lot of videos on our YouTube channel, and you can leverage those resources to learn more about the best practices around on-call and incident response. And we had our own community, but we just recently merged, and we are now in the Atlassian community. So you can also go ahead and ask questions there. Everyone is watching there. Our customer success team and our developers will hopefully our community after some time will be able to answer your questions there as well. And finally, we have a lot of other sessions during the summit. So if you are interested in hands-on examples, we have on the ecosystem theater, we are going to have like one Opsgenie integrations presentation, and we will have get to know Opsgenie, basically deep dive on Opsgenie, and we will have automate actions during incidents, basically showing the one-click alert actions to remediate incidents. This is also, we mentioned this during the presentation. And on Thursday, I have another talk on the DevOps track about how to build a healthy on-call culture. This talk is not about Opsgenie, basically about the best practices around on-call, and I hope to share some important key takeaways that you can use also for your on-call teams. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I think this is the time. We have 7 minutes.
Thank you, Serhat, for that look into the Extending Opsgenie. Like you said, we do have some time for some questions, so if you want to raise your hand, I'll run around with a mic. Please wait till the mic gets to you. Anybody have any questions? I know it's early. Here we go.
Hello. Just a quick question about the scheduling API. Does it integrate with any of the other Atlassian products, or is it purely an Opsgenie thing?
Which API? API integration?
The scheduling.
Scheduling.
Yeah. There was
scheduling API is just for Opsgenie's on-call schedules.
Okay.
Yeah, you can update schedules, update rotations, and get the data about your schedules.
Right. Okay.
But that's
But
about
it's just
Opsgenie.
purely just in Opsgenie.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Anyone else?
To follow up on that,
Oh. Can you wait until the mic comes up?
I'm not exactly sure, but we are integrating with Jira Service Desk, so we will have an integration with them. So actually, we have an integration with them.
So in Service Desk, there's the concept of schedules there already, and I think probably the ask was that they're integrated with Opsgenie schedules as well.
I'm not sure. So
That'd be a
we
great
have an
roadmap
integration
item.
with Jira Service Desk, but our on-call schedules are kind of different because we aim basically to for critical incidents for developers. So it's kind of a different schedule.
Thanks.
Sure.
Or we have time for some more questions. Thank you for pointing that out.
A follow-up to the services question. You can update issues using the Opsgenie in a Jira Service Desk ticket, for example?
Opsgenie Jira Service Desk integration?
Yeah.
So you will be able to, for example, if there is a ticket on the Jira Service Desk side, you will be able to create an alert in Opsgenie and notify the on-call engineer immediately. And also, looking at from the other side, it is bidirectional integration. If there is an alert in Opsgenie, for example, if you want to just have visibility for your, let's say, customer success engineers, customer service team, and then you will be able to also create a ticket in Jira Service Desk after an alert is created. So it works both ways. Yep. Thank you.
Got time for one or two more questions? Ooh, one more.
Here, one.
We have seen we have alerts based on teams. So how you define teams? How the user management is done in Opsgenie? Is it like you get 80 groups or?
How do I define teams, right? So for example, talking about our own teams, we have different teams for example, our user API, let's say. They're all different names, like Alex Raza team, whatever. Like we have 8 teams, and we have also the same 8 teams, developer teams, on the Opsgenie define, and users are assigned to those teams. And those teams are able to, through team admins, are able to manage their own integrations, schedules, rotations, routing rules, whatever available in Opsgenie. The team admins are able to basically control everything. And we also have custom roles, so you can just create roles and basically everything you can. But if you can click something in Opsgenie, you are able to restrict that through custom roles, so it's pretty flexible.
Does it have any integrations? Does it have any integration support with AD or
With
with Active Directory or?
With what? Integrations with?
the user import, the user data import, that these are the users because the,
Importing users?
yes.
Okay, so you're able to import users. I'm not right now exactly sure, but I know that there is an import tool. So if you have like thousands of users in your team, you will be able to import them automatically. Also, we have user API, so you can just write code and create your users through the API as well. So that is also one option. So we will have some updates about that as well. So you might want to either follow the news or just stop by the Opsgenie booth. So we will have some updates on those things as well.
I think we got time for one last question. Anybody? Just scanning. Last chance. All right.